Welcome back to the Deep Dive. If you've been scrolling through the headlines this week, you might feel like we're living in two very different timelines that are just crashing into each other.
That's a good way to put it. On one side, you have this heavy industrial reality of defense funding. We're talking massive capital, tanks, borders, security.
And on the other, you have the digital world desperately trying to break into the physical one. We have robots learning to smile from YouTube videos, drones becoming as common as mail trucks.
And, the biggest AI company in the world is quietly building a factory supply chain in the U.S. It's a real collision.
It is. It's the macro and the micro hitting at the same time. So today, we're going to unpack the European Union's massive, and I mean massive, 800 billion euro pivot to becoming a military power player.
And then we're going to look under the hood of world models, which honestly might be the most significant shift in AI architecture since the Transformer was invented.
We also have to talk about OpenAI. Everyone's watching their software, but they're making these really aggressive moves in manufacturing that tell a completely different story about where that company is headed.
Plus, Walmart is basically filling the skies, and there's a robot from Columbia University that's...
Oh, well.
It's a little unnerving.
It is a little unnerving, but it suggests we've crossed a major threshold in how humans and robots might interact. It's a packed stack today.
Let's dive in. I want to start with the money. Because when you see a number like 800 billion euros, you have to just stop and pay attention.
Absolutely. The European Commission has officially endorsed the national defense plans for 8 member states.
Okay, so who are we talking about?
This is the first big wave under their Safe Initiative Security Action for Europe. And the countries getting the green light here are Belgium, Bulgaria, Denmark, Spain, Croatia, Cyprus, Portugal, and Romania.
But I want to be clear about what this actually is. This isn't just a grant program, right? They're not just handing out free cash.
Yeah.
How does this whole thing work? That's the crucial detail. It's a financing framework designed to unlock capital. The Commission is finalizing loan agreements as we speak.
So the idea is to grease the wheels to help member states borrow and invest at a speed they normally couldn't.
Exactly. I mean, usually when we talk about Brussels, we're talking about years of deliberation, red tape.
That's the reputation for sure.
But they are moving at a breakneck pace for bureaucracy. Following the Council's adoption, the first payments are expected to land in March.
March? That's barely 2 months from now.
I know.
So why the rush? Is this just about catching up on spending targets because of the current geopolitical climate?
It's deeper than just spending more. The stated objective is urgency. They're trying to rapidly scale up military readiness, sure, but there's a structural goal here that I think is much more interesting.
Which is?
They want to build a European defense industrial base.
Meaning they want to stop relying on buying off-the-shelf gear from the US or South Korea?
To an extent, yes. It's about strategic autonomy. If you're buying your ammo or your tanks from abroad, your supply chain is vulnerable to political shifts, to shipping disruptions. If you build the factories in Romania or Spain, you control the output.
Okay, that makes sense.
But there's another layer to SAFE that I think is the real headline here. The integration of Ukraine.
Right. The briefing mentioned that. Integrating Ukraine into the EU security ecosystem. That sounds a lot like a stepping stone to full membership, or at least a de facto military alliance.
It effectively blurs the line. If you're aligning your industrial capabilities, your factories, your supply chains, your standardizations with Ukraine, you're basically treating them as part of the bloc before any political treaties are even signed.
So what we're actually seeing is the EU morphing from a purely economic union into a defense union in real time.
That's the takeaway. By using SAFE to standardize equipment across these 8 countries and Ukraine, you create interoperability. A shell made in Portugal fits a gun in Kyiv. That's the logic of the 800 billion. It's not just buying weapons, it's buying a unified logistical map.
Okay, so that's the hardware of nations securing physical borders. I want to pivot now to the software of reality. We keep hearing about large language models, LLMs. We know them, we use them every day. But the sources this week are pointing to a new term that claims to be the next revolution, world models.
Ah, yes. This is the topic that is keeping AI researchers up at night right now.
In a good way or a bad way?
Oh, in an excitement way, mostly.
Perfect.
Look, LLMs like GPT-4 or Gemini are fantastic, but they have a fundamental limitation. They're statistical engines.
Right.
They predict the next word in a sequence based on all the text they've ever read. They don't actually know what a cup is. They just know how the word cup is used in sentences.
They're predicting text tokens, not physical reality.
Precisely. World models are an attempt to fix that. So instead of predicting the next token, They try to predict the next state of the world.
Okay, break that down for me. What does the state of the world even mean to a computer?
So imagine you're walking into a dark room. You have this internal model. You know that if you flip the switch, the light turns on. You know if you drop your keys, they fall down, not up.
You have a model of physics of cause and effect.
Exactly. Object permanence. A world model gives an AI that same 4D representation.
So it's essentially a simulator running inside its own head?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a mental simulator. If a robot with a world model sees a glass of water on the edge of a table, it can simulate what happens if it pushes it. An LLM might tell you a story about spilling water, but a world model understands the physics of the spill before it happens.
This feels like the missing link for robotics. A robot can't just read about how to walk. It has to understand gravity and friction.
That is exactly why this is gaining so much traction now. We're sort of hitting the ceiling of what text-based learning can do for physical tasks.
Right.
If you want a self-driving car that can handle a chaotic intersection in Mumbai, it can't just memorize traffic rules. It needs to understand that the cyclist might swerve because there's a pothole ahead. It needs to predict the future.
And the briefing mentioned this also applies to generating content like video and simulations.
It's two sides of the same coin. If the AI understands the rules of reality, how light reflects, how shadows move, how fluids behave, it can generate video that is incredibly consistent. It's not just hallucinating pixels anymore. It's rendering a simulation it actually understands.
So we're moving from an AI that memorizes patterns to an AI that understands consequences.
Which is a prerequisite for any AI we want to trust in the real world. If it doesn't understand the rules of the road, literally and figuratively, it just can't operate safely alongside us.
I want to shift gears now to everything else happening in AI today. And I want to take a moment here because the stories we have really highlight how these digital brains are getting physical bodies. It's not just code anymore.
Let's slow it down a bit for these because the details are quite telling about the strategic direction of the whole industry.
First up, OpenAI. We usually associate them with software, ChatGPT, Sora, the models we just talked about. But the news today is all about hardware. They're actively hunting for suppliers.
That's right. And not just any suppliers. They are specifically looking for U.S.-based partners.
Yeah.
According to the reports, OpenAI has put out requests for proposals for silicon, for motors, and for various manufacturing components.
Wait, the specific focus on U.S. suppliers, is this just a patriotic move?
I don't think so. I think it's a strategic signal. If they just wanted to build a cheap robot or a simple gadget, they'd go to Shenzhen or Vietnam where the costs are lower.
Sure.
But by issuing these RFPs, specifically in the U.S., they're doing two things. One, they're hedging against geopolitical risk. We were just talking about supply chain autonomy with EU OpenAI is doing the same thing.
And two.
It positions this as a premium secure infrastructure play. It signals they're building something high-end, something they want total control over.
This connects back to some of their earlier moves, doesn't it?
It does. Remember their acquisition of Jony Ive's AI device startup. And back in November, they struck that partnership with Foxconn for U.S.-based hardware production. When you combine those moves with this new search for domestic component suppliers, especially motors, a pretty clear picture starts to emerge.
Do we have any idea what the device is? Are we talking about a humanoid robot or something like a smart speaker on steroids?
Well, the motors part of the order is the big tell. It suggests moving parts. If it were just a smart speaker or a phone, you don't need complex actuation. This points toward robotics or a very complex interactive device.
So they aren't just content with being the operating system of the future.
They want to be the iPhone of the future, too. It feels like they're realizing that to own the intelligence, you have to own the interface. And the interface is no longer just a chat box. It's the physical world.
Speaking of the physical world, Walmart is making a massive bet on drone delivery. We've heard about these pilots for years, but this feels different.
This is a story about scale. Walmart is partnering with a startup wing to launch what they're calling the world's largest residential drone delivery service.
The numbers here are impressive. They're targeting over 270 locations by 2027.
And they're moving into major metropolitan markets, Los Angeles, Miami, Cincinnati. But what stands out to me isn't the map. It's the consumer behavior data they released. This isn't just a novelty anymore.
What they say.
Wing's most active customers are ordering 3 times per week.
3 times a week? That's a habit. That's no longer a gimmick. That's, oh, I'm out of milk or I need eggs for breakfast.
Exactly. It fundamentally changes the psychology of shopping. We went from going to the store to 2-day shipping to same-day delivery. Now we're entering the era of instant gratification.
Right. If you can get toothpaste and eggs in 20 minutes, you stop stockpiling. The concept of the pantry just changes.
Your pantry is effectively the local Walmart warehouse. But you have to think about the logistical nightmare of making this work in a place like Los Angeles. You have to coordinate airspace, noise ordinances, battery life, weather, all at massive scale.
It's fascinating to see that transition from a cool tech demo to just daily utility.
Yeah. And that requires a level of logistical reliability that only comes with huge scale, which is what this partnership is all about. With deliveries tripling in just 6 months, the data says the customers are ready.
Okay, now for our final story in this section, we have something that is equal parts impressive and honestly a little uncanny. Researchers at Columbia University have built a robot named Emo.
Yes, this one is really capturing people's attention. Emo is a robotic head, but the goal wasn't just to make it speak, it was to make it emote. It uses 26 motors hidden under a silicone skin to mirror human expressions with incredibly high accuracy.
We've seen animatronics before, though. I mean, Disney has been doing this since the 1960s. What makes Emo so different?
Disney animatronics are pre-programmed. They just play back a recording. Emo learned
Learned how?
through self-supervised learning. It was essentially the same way a human actor or even a child might learn. The robot trained itself by watching its own face in a mirror.
Wait, really?
Yeah. It made thousands of random expressions, observing how the motors moved the silicone skin, effectively learning its own physiology. It taught itself how to smile by watching itself.
That's incredible.
After it learned how to move its own face, it studied hours of YouTube videos. It analyzed which mouth movements matched specific sounds to master lip syncing. But it went beyond just matching sound. It learned to anticipate and mimic expressions.
So it's not just a pre-programmed smile, it's a learned behavior based on observation.
Correct. And the breakthrough here is prediction. Emo doesn't just copy you. It analyzes your face in real time and anticipates your expression before you fully make it, so it can smile back at the exact same moment.
That's the part that feels a bit unsettling.
It is. But think about why that matters. If you're building a robot to take care of the elderly or to teach children, latency kills the connection. If the robot smiles 2 seconds after you do, it feels fake.
But if it smiles with you,
It feels like empathy. So the creepiness is actually the price of admission for a genuine connection. We're crossing the uncanny valley by speeding up the reaction time. It's that bridge between digital intelligence and physical presence again.
before we wrap up, let's run through the trending AI tools that are making waves today. If you're looking to boost your productivity, here's what you need to know.
First on the list is TwinMind. This is an AI workspace designed specifically to help you think, plan, and organize your ideas.
So it's not just another note-taking app.
It's more about structure. If you feel like your notes are a mess and your thoughts are scattered, TwinMind uses AI to cluster them into a coherent strategy. It's for the messy thinkers out there.
Okay. Next is Tutor Intelligence.
This one's great for organizational training. It uses AI to personalize learning paths. So instead of a one-size-fits-all training video, it adapts the curriculum to each person.
Then we have Pointer.
Pointer is an AI assistant focused on information retrieval. Its whole promise is surfacing the right information exactly when you need it. Think of it as an agent that digs through your cloud drive so you don't have to.
For the developers listening, there's Resend.
Right. Resend is building a developer-friendly email infrastructure. It's designed for modern applications, making it way smoother to integrate email features. It's like the plumbing of the internet, but smarter.
In the finance space, we've got Morpho.
Morpho is on-chain infrastructure for decentralized finance, specifically for lending. It's all about optimizing how liquidity works in the DeFi space to improve capital efficiency.
For the creatives, check out Kadim.
This one is powerful. It turns 2D images into production-ready 3D models using AI. If you're in game design or VR, this can massively speed up your asset creation pipeline.
And finally, OneMind.
OneMind builds conversational AI agents, but they're specialized for customer support and sales. So it's about creating agents that can actually handle the nuance of a customer interaction to close a deal, not just answer FAQs.
That brings us to the end of today's deep dive. You know, looking at everything we talked about today, from that 800 billion euro defense shift in Europe to robots learning to smile in a mirror, it feels like we're seeing the same trend across the board.
Which is what?
The reeling of AI.
That's a good way to put it. For a long time, this industry was about code and chat windows. Now it's about sovereign borders, manufacturing supply chains, delivery logistics, and physical empathy. The software is finally landing.
And that means the stakes are getting so much higher. It's one thing to have a bug in your chatbot. It's another thing entirely to have a bug in your national defense system or your autonomous drone.
Absolutely.
Thank you for listening. If you found this briefing valuable, please follow the show and share it with a colleague who needs to stay ahead of the curve.
See you in the